So today's video is about the best of the Tour du Mont Blanc, and luckily Bex has just come back from doing it. As it says, it's about the Tour du Mont Blanc, and it's one of our best-selling treks in Europe, and there are several reasons why, which we'll go into now. So Bex, can you tell me a little about the best of the Tour du Mont Blanc?
Absolutely. So it is kind of what it says on the tin. It's the best of it. So you don't walk the full trek, you do the highlights. So you get to miss out the slightly less exciting parts. So in order to do the full Tour du Mont Blanc, you're talking about 12 days, whereas we did this in 8 days with 6 days walking. So you generally get a transfer maybe once a day. There was a couple of days we did full point to point, but generally you use transfers, either like local buses or private taxis, in order to miss out the less exciting parts, so you only focus on the very, very best bits. So yeah, it's a highlights trip.
I suppose it works well if you if you've got a job and you can only take like a week off work.
Exactly that, because so many people have this trip on their bucket list. I did, everyone on my group did, but it's trying to fit it in, like to do 12 days, and like it's full on. So in order to be able to sneak it into a week is absolutely perfect. So, and the amazing thing with this trip as well is that you literally book it and then you turn up and you are completely taken care of. So all like your transfers are included, your food's all included, obviously all your accommodation is sorted for you. So if you're working, it's perfect because you just press book and then everything is sorted for you when you're there, when you're in beforehand as well. So yeah, it's brilliant.
So the Tour du Mont Blanc itself is renownedly one of the toughest treks in Europe. How tough was this, the best of Tour du Mont Blanc?
So I would say it's not one for your first like long distance trek. It has its challenges without a doubt. I think the fact that you're walking about 15 to 20 kilometers per day, but because that is continuous every day for 6 days, like it is quite full on. I would say the ground underfoot is decent, so you don't need to worry about that too much. But I would just say you want like a good level of fitness more than anything for the ascent and the descent. So you're not talking crazy, but maybe like 1,000 meters up and down per day, give or take. So I would say, yeah, it's more about the fitness rather than the sort of actually being really sure on your feet. You know, there's no real scrambling or anything like that. So yeah, I would say that's where the challenge lies, in the ascent and the descent rather than your actual trails. But yeah, I would say you want to do some training, but you don't need to stress about it being completely challenging.
I suppose the big thing there really is that accommodation is such a major part of treks.
Totally.
So what was the accommodation like on the...
Yeah, it was so good, because that is the thing, like obviously it's a busy trail, so the accommodation is going to get booked up quickly, so that's the amazing thing, that it's all sorted for you. So we stayed in great accommodation. We stayed in quite a mixture, like we stayed in some sort of small family run guest house places, and then we stayed in some like more modern, bigger hotels. All really well accommodated though for people on the trail. They know that's what everyone's there for, so you know they've all got boot rooms and drying racks and things like that ready for the hikers coming through. So yeah, we stayed in really great accommodation, and everyone we met along the trail that was like staying in the campsites and things were so envious of us going back to a nice warm hotel with hot showers and things. So it's definitely the way to do it. I was always so grateful that we weren't then going back to a campsite at the end of the day. Definitely.
Another key aspect to these trips is always food. Yes. So what was the food like?
Oh my gosh, so good.
What was the French food like?
Yeah, their feeders. They, I ate a lot of cheese. The food was great. And like I said, it's all included. So I did kind of wonder how that was going to work. I've never been on a trip like that before. So obviously breakfast is what you'd expect. You eat breakfast at your accommodation every day. And it's like a nice big continental buffet. And then lunches were great. So our leader would like sort our lunches out for us in the morning. So we'd either like go to a bakery or he'd prepare something for us. And he always brought snacks like fruit and protein bars and things like that. So that was such a good element, because there were some days when we were in the middle of nowhere, our accommodation. So he like rustled something up for us to take out for lunch, because we wouldn't have been able to get to a shop or a bakery or something those days. So that was such a good element of it, that was just all taken care of. All we had to do was carry it in our bags. And then dinner, generally in the accommodation, like sort of everyone eats together kind of thing. But then there was some nights that we stayed in accommodation, didn't have a restaurant, so we went out as a group and all went to a nice restaurant or something like that.
Nice.
So yeah, really, really a nice variation. So much food. Yeah, dinner was like always 3 courses, which was incredible. So yeah, you're not going to lose weight on this trip. Do not think, oh, I'll be doing 6 days of walking. Yeah, the food is fantastic.
Oh, cool. Well, one of the things that kind of conjures to me is alpine, is the
Yes.
Alps. I'm just kind of thinking, what kit did you take or would you recommend?
Yeah, so I was pleased with what I took in the end. So boots wise, I took like a mid boot. You definitely need like that flexibility. Obviously, it can be a little bit rocky underfoot and things, and you don't need a big, heavy, solid boot. Like you just don't need it. Like the trails are pretty decent, so you just want that flexibility and a nice light boot. I think like a good solid trail shoe as well, you can do it in. But yeah, I was happy with my mid boots that I took. Took poles as well, would recommend taking poles. So I didn't really walk with poles beforehand, and no one in my group really did either. So we all kind of took them. None of us really wanted to use them, but our leader showed us like a few techniques and things, and they were really, really helpful. I would really recommend. So not only just for like your speed and the power going up on the ascent, but I think actually for me personally, I found them best on the descent, because I prefer the ascent to the descent. So I found them really helpful for that, for like just stability. And also we had a couple of wet days, so it was just really good for making sure that you weren't slipping all over the place. So would definitely recommend poles as well. And take good waterproofs. Because we did have a couple of wet days, so we were all grateful to make sure to have our waterproofs. We did generally take like our waterproof jackets out with us every day, just because you never know. You're up in the mountains, you never know what's going to happen. And then we had a couple of wet days where we took the full waterproofs out with us. So yeah, some good quality stuff. But yeah, I think the most important is the boots. A nice, lightweight, flexible pair of boots, definitely.
Okay, so aside from the wet days,
Yes.
what were the highlights?
Oh, so many. To be fair, some of my highlights happened on the wet days, because I think for me, I'd never experienced before like crossing a country border, like at the top of a pass. I think that's amazing. Like all of a sudden we were in Italy. So you do that twice. You do France into Italy and then Italy into Switzerland. And I just think that is absolutely incredible. So you're hiking up to a pass, you get to this stone, and then all of a sudden you're in another country. So I think that was just really, really cool. So yeah, and amazing that they were on 2 of our wetter days. But so you don't really get much of a view from up there or anything, but the experience of crossing a country border, I think, is just really, really cool. So they were definitely a couple of my highlights. But I think Lac Blanc has got to be, it's just incredible. It's just absolutely breathtaking. I was completely speechless. Like we were walking around a few of the lakes and I was like, oh yeah, that's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. And then you get to Lac Blanc and it's just next level. So yeah, it is so, with like the Mont Blanc massif in the background and things, it's just, you see the pictures, but you don't quite realise how gorgeous it really is. So yeah, that's got to be the highlight without a doubt.
I think you're right. It's one of these treks that a lot of people in the office who have been on it rave about.
Yes, absolutely.
And the rest of us want to do it.
Yeah.
And I know people that have put the Tour du Mont Blanc as one of the best treks they've done in the world.
Yeah.
Having done lots of things. So you're very lucky to have done it.
I am. No, it was so incredible. We all loved it so much.
But massively thank you for coming to kind of share that
problem.
experience with everybody here. And if you have any questions about the Tour du Mont Blanc or the best of Tour du Mont Blanc particularly, feel free to call the office and you get through to Bex, and Bex will happily answer any of your questions.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
That's it for today.